you stay fresh. Shake, twist, feel for our big 96-ounce jug of fresh, so much more than more.
Can chimpanzees understand human beings? We'll find out today when we watch The Wild and the Free on Family Classics.
President Reagan speaks out on economic matters, while investigators and critics zero in on the widening arms scandal.
This is INN, the Independent News, with Marvin Scott.
Good evening. As Alice said in Wonderland, things get curiouser and curiouser, just as it appears to be getting in the growing scandal over American arms shipments to Iran. Curious new developments surfaced today, including reports in a Greek newspaper that the U.S. shipped more than $1 billion worth of military hardware to Iran, more than 100 times the amount U.S. officials acknowledged sending. And the Athens Daily claimed that tapes of U.S. envoy Robert McFarland's talks with Iranians in Tehran show the United States paid $2 million to the Islamic Jihad for the release of American hostages. The pro-Iranian terrorist group admits to be holding 2 of the 6 Americans still missing in Lebanon. It was difficult to immediately gauge the reliability of the Greek newspaper account, but the Iranians themselves have said several times in the past few weeks that they had tapes of McFarland's conversations and have threatened to release them. The White House refused comment on such reports, quote, no matter how crazy they are, unquote. In yet another development, the New York Times reported former National Security Advisor John Poindexter was believed to have shredded stacks of sensitive documents last weekend. It wasn't clear if the documents concerned the arms sale. This allegation comes on the heels of charges that ousted White House aide Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North may have destroyed documents crucial to the investigation. President Reagan, spending the holiday weekend at his home in California, tried to deflect attention from the crisis in his administration. In his weekly radio address, he tried to shift attention from the scandal to economic issues.
While we've been occupied with the Iranian issue over the past 2 weeks, let's not forget that there are many other issues that concern us, and this deficit problem remains a major priority. In order to pursue this issue and all the others like it on our domestic and foreign agenda, we must be certain to maintain peace in the world and keep our defenses strong, while, of course, sparking our domestic economy to even greater growth.
In the Democratic response, Senator Patrick Moynihan of New York urged Mr. Reagan to save his presidency by removing all cabinet members involved in the arms deal and reveal all details to Congress.
Laws have been broken. That must be assumed. Men have betrayed your trust. Very well. Let it all come out in the open with greater than deliberate speed, immediately, regardless.
That sentiment was echoed by one of President Reagan's strongest defenders. South Dakota Republican Senator Larry Pressler says he hasn't been getting answers from the White House or State Department. They haven't even returned his calls, he says. And he asserts Mr. Reagan would do himself well to get a new team at the White House. And in another development, Sunday's editions of the New York Times report evidence points to a significant role played by Saudi Arabia in the arms deals to both Iran and Nicaragua. The Senate and House Intelligence Committees launched formal investigations into the affair Monday, as does the President's hand-picked commission headed by former Senator John Power. Although President Reagan tried to divert attention from the arms scandal to the economy in his radio broadcast today, news analyst David Schoenbrun believes the President is focusing on other issues as well, all in an effort to turn the thermostat down right now in the worst crisis of his administration. David.
That's right, Marvin. While the controversy has been boiling over, a new foreign policy decision is now meeting with criticism. As of yesterday, when the United States outfitted a B-52 bomber with new cruise missiles, we are in violation of the SALT II arms treaty with the Soviets. Now, why did the President abrogate the SALT II treaty right now? For 6 years he has been saying it is fatally flawed and the Soviets have violated, but he lived up to it all along. Why now has he broken this treaty? Well, critics say that he's trying to divert attention from the Iranian affair. This is simply not going to work because the Iranian affair is not going to go away. It is quite clear now that he has violated the only arms treaty that exists. That has alarmed our allies. It has given Gorbachev an opportunity to question our motives. How can we negotiate for arms control in Geneva when we are breaking a treaty that already exists? The administration is striking out in all sorts of directions. It is clearly confounded. But it seems as though the ghosts of Watergate are haunting the White House. The White House these days is trying to get over the Iranian connection, and many, many questions are still unanswered.
David, questions such as what?
Well, for example, in Watergate, there was laundered money. Here, there was laundered money. We want to know who did it. There are mysterious characters in Watergate and mysterious characters here. Who is this General Secord who has been sending arms to the Contras? Where did that money come from? Is it possible that the president did not know what was going on? If he didn't know, that raises questions about his competence. If he did know, then he himself is guilty. This is going to go right through to the end.
Everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty. By linking Watergate to this particular crisis in the Reagan administration, are we as journalists being irresponsible at this point?
I don't think so, although many people do claim that that is true. It is our duty as journalists to recall the past as well as the present. The parallels are very, very clear. And finally, it's the Congress that's going to decide whether it's the same thing or not. Now, I don't really think this is going to end the way Watergate ends, but impeachment of the White House credibility is already a fact.
David Schonbrun, thank you very much. And still ahead tonight on the Independent News, the answer is no. Hundreds of South Korean protesters gathered to demand free elections and are beaten back by police.
The Independent News, brought to you by Metamucil and by Vanish.
I live naturally, always have. So, when my doctor said Metamucil keeps you regular naturally, I gave it a try.
Metamucil's fiber is my doctor's choice. It's a true natural laxative. So these days, I'm my regular self, thanks to Metamucil.
Trust is a delicate thing, not easy to come by. So knowing more doctors trust Metamucil makes me feel better than ever.
Natural fiber Metamucil.
It's tried,
True,
and trusted.
Plaque. It's not something you want on your teeth, but if you smoke, it can be worse. Because tar and nicotine stains on smokers' teeth can be trapped by plaque deposits that form regularly. Regular brushing with Topol helps remove tar and nicotine stains. And now, a new clinical study shows brushing with Topol helps remove plaque. Use Topol Smoker's Tooth Polish. It fights tar and nicotine stains, and it fights plaque. One more reason why. The more you smoke, the more you need Topol.
I'm no king, I'm no fool, I'm not bragging, I'm
A shot at stardom on the next all-new episode of Fame.
Welcome to Mr. Wacky's world, Noodles.
I'm gonna be on TV. Hey, Noodles! I'm really beginning to hate that name.
Don't miss television's best, the next all-new episode of the Emmy Award-winning Fame.
Tonight at 5:30 here on Channel 9.
Pepper's Waterbed Weekend is here. For 4 days and 4 days only, Pepper's Waterbeds is having their biggest sale of the year. And you're going to save like you've never saved before on waterbeds, bedroom furniture and accessories. Like a bookcase waterbed for only $159. So hurry in this weekend only for Pepper's Waterbed Weekend.
Pepper's Waterbed.
Pepper. There's an old-fashioned warm Christmas spirit at Townhouse TV and Appliances. Maybe it's the smiles that greet you. Maybe it's the dolls. Maybe it's the Lionel trains. Maybe it's Townhouse's sale prices on all Tappan appliances and Tappan gas ranges that makes Christmas shopping a little more special. With any major purchase, get this Townhouse Lionel Super Train for only $19.95.
Come to the Superstore, Townhouse TV and Appliances, Milwaukee and Oakton.
There was violence in the streets of Seoul, South Korea. Thousands of protesters angry with government bureaucracy took to the streets today. They were met by 70,000 police. Louise Bates has more.
The violence erupted as police sealed off streets in the center of Seoul, preventing marchers from attending a planned anti-government rally. Angry protesters literally threw themselves at police lines in an effort to break through. But security forces were prepared for trouble. An estimated 70,000 police had been drafted into the South Korean capital to crush the rally before it got underway. Government authorities had refused the organizers a permit for the meeting, claiming that the opposition was out to create social unrest. Police used tear gas to disperse the demonstrators, among them a number of prominent opposition leaders. As it became clear that security forces had the upper hand, organizers called the rally off. But while riot police succeeded in their objective, spontaneous protests continued late into the evening, with hundreds being detained. Figures vary, but some reports put the number of arrests as high as nearly 2,000. Meanwhile, angry opposition leaders have promised an all-out campaign to overthrow the government.
And that figure was later confirmed. Police say nearly 2,000 people were indeed arrested in 24 separate clashes. Pope John Paul has taken a vow. He has vowed to help fight for the rights of Aborigines. Today in Australia, he told a group from the outback that the church supports their fight to keep their ancestral homelands. In his speech, the Pope outlined a history of discrimination against the Aborigines, who make up about 1% of the country's population. Pope John Paul is about to wrap up a 2-week tour of both Asian and Pacific countries. Californians can keep the porch door open this winter. National weather forecasters are predicting that western states will have a drier, warmer than usual winter. In the east, however, get out your galoshes and stand by with snow plows. Meteorologists expect a very white winter with more than the usual number of snowstorms in the eastern Gulf Coast states. Better button up as well. Whatever the weather for the homeless, the Christmas season is never easy. In New York City today, more than 1,000 homeless men and women got together for the first convention of their newly formed union, New York's Union for the Homeless. Their aim to put pressure on the government to help the homeless help themselves.
The shelters or the concentration camps for us, we want shelters to end. We want affordable, decent housing. We want jobs and health care. We're not going back in those shelters, and we're not going back to welfare hotels and just reminisce about a nice convention we had.
The National Union for the Homeless has 10,000 members all across the country. But while New York's homeless fight for their rights to employment and housing, police for Amtrak in New York are fighting a battle of their own. The police say they don't want to throw the homeless out of train stations anymore. Amtrak says they have to. Rich Snyder reports on the railway policy which could hurt the homeless and police force and the railway itself.
The police are between a rock and a hard place.
That's how Amtrak police officers feel about orders to throw homeless people out of Penn Station, one of New York City's largest train stations. In cold weather, many of New York's estimated 30,000 homeless search for shelter in the benches and phone booths of the city's rail stations. It's the rail police officers' job to physically eject them. But today, the officers' union announced a $10 million lawsuit against Amtrak, saying the policy of removing the homeless is unconstitutional, and cops who do it could get sued themselves.
There is no legal justification for the use of physical force when somebody's sitting here in this station and the police management don't like the way he's dressed. For a police officer to use physical force and to throw that person out into the freezing cold is a violation of his constitutional rights.
Activists for the homeless say the policy is the same at all New York City stations.
The management of all of these terminals treats these people not as if they were human beings, but if they were cockroaches. And that's exactly the policy that they have. It's to sweep them out any way that you can. And to expose these police officers to this kind of liability is just boggles the mind.
Warm weather and busy holiday weekend traffic seem to keep the homeless out of Penn Station today. Police Sergeant Gary Taylor faces disciplinary action for not ordering his men to eject homeless people. He's also accused of making a personal call and reading a book while on duty. Taylor says the orders to eject hurt police morale.
Especially if you have to ask somebody or take somebody to the door and it's really cold outside. I mean, how do you think the officer feels? I mean, we have feelings, although, you know, it may not appear that way. We're trying to do our job, keep people out. But if it's really cold outside and the wind's really howling down through the streets, you know, an officer has feelings too. These guys have feelings too.
The homeless dilemma at Penn Station is not an easy one to resolve, especially since there's another element besides the cops and the homeless. There are also the rail customers. Amtrak says Penn Station is private property, not a homeless shelter, and its customers complain if the company doesn't do anything about the loitering. For the Independent News, I'm Rick Schneider in New York.
And still ahead tonight, can a new treatment make your eyeglasses obsolete? We'll have a Health Beat report on an eye exercise, one plan that may improve your vision.
For the last time, Muggsy, come clean. I've tried, I tell you.
Apparently not with liquid or crystal Vanish. Get the brush, officer. You see, Vanish cleans even stubborn rust stains and hard water spots. Those newer detergent brands don't. Even the germs are all washed up.
Hey, I'm clean. Another tough case. Solved.
Toilets come clean better with Vanish. And here's something to help you stay clean. Automatic Vanish. Just hang it in the tank to help keep your bowl clean and fresh between brushings. Automatic Vanish. The clean goes on and on.
Dusting with Pledge has kept this table beautiful for 28 years. And now N-Dust says watch out for buildup? Come on. Pledge is self-cleaning, so it cleans away old polish.
Pledge, a fresh shine every time. If you like cooking Mexican,
Tamales O'Malley.
Enchiladas Antonucci.
Nachos Nakamoto. Nothing makes it Mexican like Velveeta Mexican processed cheese spread. Hot or mild, there's no single cheese like it.
You asked for it! Harlem Furniture's big 74th anniversary sale is back!
But only through this Monday night.
Last chance to get all the Harlem furniture you want.
And save up to 74%.
Last chance to get famous Harlem style, quality, and savings up to 74%.
Last chance to get all that new furniture now.
And pay nothing till next year.
Hurry, though. Sale must end Monday night at 9 at Harlem.
Harlem has style.
Furniture.
Harlem has quality.
Discounts, too.
Nice price place since 1912. Harlem Furniture, you like our style.
Mind if I have a bite of that? Well, just a bite. A good-sized bite.
That's exactly what I'd like. A bite, yeah.
For the times you want a special snack that's not too big, not too small. A bite. About like that. Klondike introduces new Klondike ice cream nuggets. Delicious bite-sized snacks of rich ice cream covered in real Klondike chocolate. The perfect snack when you want a bite. A bite.
A bite.
New Klondike ice cream nuggets. When bite size is the right size.
Tonight on the INN Health Beat, bringing into focus the controversy surrounding vision exercises.
INN's Health Beat is brought to you by Anacin.
Millions of Americans wear eyeglasses, but do millions of Americans need eyeglasses? As Alec Roberts explains in tonight's Health Beat report, one New York optometrist says the focus should be on eye exercises instead of eyewear.
Now go the opposite direction and call off the small letters.
T-M.
This is not a gymnastics class. It is called vision therapy, one of a number of controversial techniques practiced by optometrist Dr. Joseph Shapiro.
The potential to help everyone is tremendous. We routinely cut down a person's distance prescription about 25 or 30% without much difficulty.
Supported by recent studies indicating that blurred vision, headaches, and even myopia or nearsightedness may be induced by constant focusing on close objects. Dr. Shapiro has devised exercises that improve focusing ability and relax the eye muscles.
I had no more choices left. I'd been told by optometrists, 3 of them and an ophthalmologist, that there was nothing that could be done. I was going to have to live with my condition. And that was being afraid to cross the street and not being able to read.
How has visual therapy helped you?
Well, I have my vision back. I can see more than just an eye chart. I can see depth. I can see with both eyes. The vision is coordinated. When I read, I can read for content.
Traditional optometry and ophthalmology have been a dismal failure at controlling and preventing poor vision. In 1939, 18% of the population wore glasses for nearsightedness. Today, the figure is 40%. And a prescription for glasses condemns its wearer to a lifetime of dependency. Vision therapists claim that they can halt and in some cases reverse myopia, nearsightedness. Can they?
There's no good scientific evidence that they can. The eyes that are short are what we call farsighted eyes. Long eyes are nearsighted eyes. And just like you can't change the shape or size of your feet easily, you can't change the length of your eye.
I want you to focus on each bead and point to it at the same time.
While Dr. Shapiro does not claim he can change the size of the eye we're born with,
He says research indicates that constant focusing on close objects increases the pressure in the eye.
And that'll have a tendency to elongate the eye, and the near side of the eye is traditionally an elongated eye. So genetically, it wasn't predetermined, but the environmental conditions brought it out.
Dr. Shapiro concludes that if improper use of the eye can elongate it, proper use can help restore it. The American Optometric Association says it's looking closely at vision therapy and says it may hold promise for those suffering from a wide array of visual problems. For the Independent News, I'm Alec Roberts in New York.
And still ahead on the Independent News, a bar that really wets your whistle. They only serve water.
INN's Health Beat was brought to you by Anacin.
I am so pleased with these new caplets. Finally, somebody put the medicine I prefer into easy-to-take coated caplets.
Introducing new Anacin caplets, the only coated caplets with a formula containing aspirin, the pain-relieving medicine doctors recommend most.
The coating makes it so easy to swallow.
New Anacin caplets with a protective coating for easy swallowing.
I like the strength and the coating.
New Anacin caplets with strong doctor-recommended medicine. Anacin, doctor-recommended, now in coated caplets, too.
This is where we make the new 3M surgical clipper by Remington. Hospitals are now using this advanced product, replacing blades, to shave patients for surgery safely and comfortably. You can also benefit from Remington's advanced technology. This charger stand keeps the Remington microscreen rechargeable, continually charged. It never needs a cord, and it shaves as close as a blade, or your money back. And the Lady Remington rechargeable also shaves without a cord. Advanced shaving technology, only from Remington.
Minolta Freedom 3. Freedom. New and worry-free.
Freedom. Auto-focusing.
Freedom.
Auto everything.
Freedom. Click is all you do.
Freedom.
Freedom 3 comes through.
Freedom. Freedom's what you got. Freedom to take your fair shot.
The Minolta Freedom line of 35mm cameras. Only from the mind of Minolta.
It's been 2 days since Thanksgiving, and I'm sure folks all across the country are still finishing off the turkey. But the whole idea of Thanksgiving certainly extends far beyond the date we observe it each year. As Jeff Kamen reports, one Washington firefighter's spirit has not been extinguished, even though a damper was thrown on top of his life-saving heroics.
If there is anyone with a lot to be thankful for, it is the truck driver who was knocked from his cab after his truck struck an elevated highway wall in Washington. He clung for dear life above the ground below, but finally he passed out and fell 50 feet into the arms of fireman Richard Young.
I looked back up, and the guy let go. When he let go, I just stepped up under him, and I put my arms up, and I figured, I knew I wasn't going to be able to hold him, but I figured if I break his fall, he would stand a chance. The way he was coming down, he didn't stand a chance at all.
When I spoke with Richard, he was home, making the best of life in a cast. He is very grateful that a banged-up leg is the only price he paid for his heroism.
He just drove me back. My legs kicked out. I heard the bone break. My helmet hit the ground first, then it kicked off, and then my head hit. But the helmet took the initial shock, and it felt like my insides felt like I had been playing football, and I had got hit by a linebacker, somebody from the blind side, and the way he just ripped my guts out, I couldn't breathe.
You risked your own life for someone you didn't know, a perfect stranger. Why?
My mother had passed like 3 weeks prior to this, and she had been sick for a while, and like I said, I couldn't really help her, but knowing that I could try and help this guy, and when they told me he was alive, it made me feel real good because, you know, you lose a life, but then here's a chance that you could save a life, and it made me feel real good.
Richard and I returned to the scene of his incredible feat of courage and strength. He denies he's a hero. He says firemen are supposed to do what he did.
You try to save lives and protect property, and this is your job. This is what you go out to do.
The Washington, D.C. Fire Department invited reporters and camera crews to a reunion of the truck driver who fell 50 feet and the firefighter who saved his life. But the truck driver did not show up. His wife told an official on the phone he forgot. But the hero's friends felt it was the worst case of ingratitude they'd ever seen. What about the hero?
Well, I'm a little disappointed that I haven't really met him in person, but I cannot hold that against him. You know, because he haven't showed, because I really don't know his reasons for not showing. The public has been real great, overwhelming, and it really touched me to know that so many people care.
And we'll be back with more as the Independent News continues. Stay with us.
Baker's dozen. That's always 13.
A dozen wicked cookies. A baker's wicked fun. But the baker doesn't know who will eat the last one.
I'm gonna get you, woman.
Tales from the Dark Side.
Sunday night at 10 on Channel 9.
I want waterbed, I want because I sleep good. Waterbed warehouse showed me how.
Flash! From around the world and across the nation, people are rushing to Waterbed Warehouse. Why? Because you can get a complete waterbed for only $99. That's right, only $99. So hurry into Waterbed Warehouse. Our low prices will knock your socks off.
Waterbed warehouse showed me. Waterbed warehouse, waterbed warehouse, waterbed.
At Katz Auto Parts, buy used tires, mufflers, batteries only $8.88. Carbs, calipers, drums, starters only $12.99. Used doors, fenders, windshields, radiators only $39. Automatic transmissions and rear ends only $69. At Katz, $125 buys an engine. Katz pays top dollar for your car, and Katz will even tow it away. Katz Auto Parts, 4600 West North Avenue and 7370 South Chicago Avenue. Now open Sundays at the North Avenue location.
The Independent News, brought to you by the Remington Micro Screen Shaver and by Minolta.
The bottles have exotic labels from around the world. But while the packaging is often foreign, the liquid in the bottles is quite familiar. Andrea Kaiser reports on a Beverly Hills watering hole that really serves just water.
But these two are two that we had a little trouble getting. We found them. The Laotian is from China, and the Jermuk is from Russia.
This is not typical barroom conversation, but this is not exactly a typical bar. There's no liquor, beer, or wine sold here, not even a soft drink or munchies, just water. 52 varieties from 18 countries to be exact.
We have a water from Russia that, among its other curative features, is recommended for hangovers. We've got waters that are strictly digestive waters, heavy mineral waters, and we've got just good tasting waters.
This one's better than the Russian one. It's very good. Yeah, it's good water.
Of this one, it tastes like Alka-Seltzer. But I didn't want to tell him and hurt his feelings.
America's first H2O bar is located in, of course, Beverly Hills. And the owners are expecting to get the health conscious, the curious, and the connoisseur.
We expect to have the people that come and ask for the particular Himalayan snowfall water that maybe we haven't found yet. So we'll certainly pursue it for them.
So this is interesting. Mendocino is the highest mineral content.
Water tender Richard Hariza takes his job seriously. Tell me what you did to prepare yourself to become a water bartender.
Just basically read and studied all that I could in the previous month before we opened.
If you want your water on the rocks, you'll have to go somewhere else. Here it's served slightly chilled and straight up. Opening day, the water was flowing freely, but at $1 to $2 for an 8-ounce shot, this watering hole should have no problem staying afloat.
I'm true to Los Angeles water. I like stale, flat water.
For the Independent News, I'm Andrea Kaiser in Beverly Hills, California.
In Beverly Hills, where they really know how to wet their whistle. That's the Independent News for this Saturday, November 29th. I'm Marvin Scott. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night and a great Sunday.
There's an old-fashioned warm Christmas spirit at Townhouse TV and Appliances. Maybe it's the smiles that greet you. Maybe it's the dolls. Maybe it's the Lionel trains. Maybe it's Townhouse's Christmas sale prices on all Zenith color TVs and Zenith VCRs that makes Christmas shopping a little more special. With any major purchase, get this Townhouse Lionel Super Train for only $19.95.
Come to the superstore, Townhouse TV and appliances, Milwaukee and Oakton.
You asked for it. Harlem Furniture's big 74th anniversary sale is back.
But only through this Monday night.
Last chance to get all the Harlem furniture you want.
And save up to 74%.
Last chance to get famous Harlem style, quality, and savings up to 74%.
Last chance to get all that new furniture now.
And pay nothing till next year.
Hurry, though. Sale must end Monday night at 9 at Harlem.
Harlem has style.
Furniture.
Harlem has quality.
Discounts, too.
Nice price place since 1912. Harlem Furniture, you like our style.
Live coverage of the 1986 Chicagoland Christmas Parade begins this morning at 9, right here on Channel 9.